War Eagle, everybody. It is another Auburn family night. Wednesday nights are the best nights to be here on E2C Network. It is our live call-in show. We're going to get into anything and everything Auburn, and we're going to have a special guest too. So sit back and enjoy, and let's talk about anything and everything orange and blue. War Eagle Auburn family, and of course, a special War Eagle and welcome to those of you that consider yourselves part of our E2C network family. We are excited to have you here on Wednesday night when we have the opportunity to talk to you, to hang out about anything Auburn related. Tonight's a special night just because it's Wednesday night and it's Auburn family night. We're going to take calls, but we are also going to have a special guest for those of you that were just on our live stream previously. If you're watching the replay, we had a live stream just before this one with Clint Richardson. He's going to come back on and spend some time with us again. So we'll get him in just a second. We're also going to take a few more calls and questions as they come in. And then we will just bounce around to 1,000 different topics tonight. Your calls, your comments, your talk. This is your show out there. Do me a favor, though. Go ahead and smash the like button as you come into the stream. We want to know who's here. We want people to know that this is the place to be to help grow our little family. I see a lot of fine folks that have already checked in to our show. Thank you guys so much. We've got Michigan and Indiana checking in. We've got Alabama, of course, checking in. Leeds, Alabama, too. So many fine folks from all the different places out there being here and hanging out with us tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun. There's a lot to discuss this week. We have got a commitment. We have got a new apparel deal. We have got drama with coaching changes and will Bruce Pearl go? I know that's some of you's conversations. We've got transfer portal stuff. A-Day just happened. My gosh, the stories abound and the opportunities to discuss those things abound. So we're going to get into it now. We do already have one caller on the line. We're going to go ahead and say hello to him because I would imagine Clint will be with us soon. And we'll let him back in. But we also want to go ahead and say hello to Mr. Kevin because he is one of our regulars. There he is, Mr. Cowboy Hat. What's going on, sir?
Mr. Jarquez Hunter Hat.
Oh, that's a Jarquez Hunter hat. Well, I would. His looks a little bit more kind of bent in on the edges, so you might have to kind of work the edges a little bit and get a little bit. So when you see Jarquez with me at Tiger Walk, you need to ask him what he did to get his looking all proper, so you can be just like twins with him.
Yeah, twins.
Twins. How you doing tonight, buddy?
I think Cam Coleman will have 18 touchdowns next season.
18 touchdowns. So you're calling for, I'm doing that math in my head, at least 12 games guaranteed. 1 point. Somebody do the math. I don't know. 1 point touchdowns per game. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. And he looks every bit the part so far. It's really hard to deny that he looks like quite the talent, but we'll see if we can hold that to you. 18 touchdowns.
And I think Bruce Pearl will stay at Auburn.
I think right now you're right. And I think we're okay in that realm. I think there's a lot more for Bruce Pearl to gain here than at Kentucky, but there's always a chance, right? You could, but I don't think I think we'll be okay. Of course, the second this news breaks, everybody's going to clip this thing and then point and laugh at me, but you're right. I feel okay about it right now.
I think our defense will be good too this coming season.
They looked pretty good against that, at least in the A-Day game, did they not? At least start off with.
Did Bryce Kane play?
I believe he did.
He's number 6.
I'm trying to think when we did our reaction stream when I was talking about the receivers. I don't remember him being targeted though, so maybe he didn't. Now there were a lot of wide receivers that had some nagging injuries that kept them out of the rotation for the spring game. Yeah. He may have been one of them. Now that I'm kind of thinking about it, he may have been one of those. But we'll see him eventually.
Did it play?
DeMarcus Reddick. I don't believe I remember him being on the stat sheet, but that doesn't mean he wasn't out there. He could have been.
I thought they called his name.
They probably did. I was paying attention to a lot that day, so it's possible that I missed him.
Did they call his name?
Jarquez?
Yeah.
A couple of times they did, but he only got 4 carries on the day because they're trying to protect that man. Protect that man. he's
I think
he's a valuable asset.
I think Caleb Burton will step up too.
I think he's already stepped up. I think he will continue to step up. And look, I think this is going to be, I'm not saying we're going to have like the most amazing wide receiver year ever, but I think we're going to have a pretty good wide receiver year. I think that's a fair statement.
I think we will have a 1,000-yard rusher.
1,000. Who's that going to be?
Cam Coleman.
Rusher or receiver?
Receiver.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, yeah, which one do you, if it was rusher, it's probably going to be Jarquez. I think it would be a tall task this year because we're still getting things rolling with this offense, but it's possible. I would say that I would probably put my money more so on somebody he already has a great rapport with, like a Jay Fair, or a Caleb Burton. Or Caleb Burton, someone who's been around and they already had kind of a good connection going.
And I saw Robert Woodard play too.
Yeah, that was nice to see because we were talking about him last week where he's kind of fallen off a little bit, at least in conversation pieces. And to hear his name called out a few times during spring game was nice to hear. So hopefully he'll come along.
Darius Falk.
Darius, what? Say that again.
Darius Falk.
You mean? Oh my gosh. I almost said, yeah, I know who you're talking about, but his first name is escaping me at this moment. He put Keldrick Falk.
Yeah, his brother visited Alabama.
Well, it's not unheard of for he's committed to us right now. It's not unheard of for them to take visits during this time. They get a lot of them these days, so I wouldn't worry about it right now. And the great thing is, if he decides to go elsewhere, we'll replace him with somebody else.
Malik Autry.
He's been one that's been entertaining a lot of other schools like Florida. I'm wondering if we might not see that be a flip at some point, but he's with us for now.
That's what Ryan Williams did.
Yeah, well, I think Ryan Williams was going to be our guy. So I was trying to warn everybody about that. You're letting yourself down if you think that Ryan Williams is coming, but he would have been a special player if you had gotten him too.
That'd be funny if KJ Lacey comes.
It would be absolutely funny. Real quick, maybe as a last topic with you, sir, do you like Nike?
How about our backup field goal kicker?
Quite good, isn't he?
Yeah.
7 for 7, 58-yard to win the game. I mean, what else can you ask
I bet
for?
the winning team got steak dinners.
I hope so, because they, that's usually the case. Whoever is the winner gets something special, but I bet they probably treated them all.
Hopefully they have another fan day before the first game on that Saturday.
Yeah, I hope so, because maybe you and I can get opportunity to finally meet in person. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
I'll be wearing my cowboy hat.
I will be looking for you, sir. Well, look, we got to get to our other callers and stuff, but I appreciate you calling in and giving us your perspectives tonight.
Hey, don't forget watch Auburn baseball tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. We'll not forget that. Thank you for a reminder. And everybody needs to remember to keep up with this baseball team, even though things are not going as well.
Thomas.
What's that?
War Eagle to Cal and Thomas.
That War Eagle to you as well, buddy. I'm sure they say War Eagle back. Good to see you. Bye. All right, that was our good friend, Mr. Kevin. You guys can take advantage of the phone lines too by hitting the link that's at the top of the chat. Call in and get in line, and we'll bring people in as we can. We, though, are going to have a special friend join us again. Believe it or not, he somehow decided that he wanted to spend some more time with us. I don't know why. Maybe his camera works this time. Maybe not. There he is. You set yourself up for it. So
I got nothing.
I mean, there's nothing you can say at this point.
I was gonna say, man, it's been a minute, but then you did that. So it's been like 4 minutes.
I needed some more ammo on you, and now I have it. So here we are. For those of you that missed it, we did a hour-long live stream with Clint where we went into deep detail about a lot of the Under Armour and Auburn and Nike stuff and the newness that will be coming. So make sure you go check that out. But we're going to talk some of that here too, because I figured there would be some carryover. So if you're on that stream and didn't get your question answered, now's a good time to put it in. But we'll try to talk. A
lot of good questions that we just didn't get to.
And we covered, like, I feel like most of them we covered in some way, maybe just lightly. Yeah. But there's so many nuances to that topic that you could talk about. Here, we're not going to just talk about uniforms with you because you're here and you're stuck. How weird is that Cal's going to Arkansas?
I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Can I be honest with you? I love it. I absolutely love this.
Just throwing salt into the Kentucky fans. Yes, that I do love, but I just don't get this.
Also, as a just lover of college basketball, you know, Arkansas and Kentucky, it was always Kentucky in the SEC. Arkansas had a time where they were like the second tier or the second best in the league, and we're fighting Kentucky all the time. That has fallen off, come back. This, to me, feels like we're about to get that era back again. If Calipari can replicate what he did at Kentucky. I'm just glad that old Musselman's not here.
It's so funny to me to have the discussion around, can he recruit? So yes, he can recruit.
His name recruits.
We saw that for a decade, for 14, 15 years at Kentucky, which it's wild to me that it's only been 15 years. He was only there 5 years longer than Bruce has been here. Like, It's wild. But, I mean, yes, John Calipari can recruit. He's going to get the top players in every single draft or every single class. He hasn't turned it into anything since then, though.
And this is why I use this example, and I use Texas A&M. Stars do not matter as much as you think they do.
I mean, that they proved that when they go back and reclassify every recruiting class 5 years later.
Right. I mean, it's just one of those things that, folks, listen, you got to stop obsessing about the Stars so much. Like, look at actually what happens. You spend all this energy getting hyped up about it, and then nothing happens. Yeah. But it is funny watching Kentucky, freak out right now about things. The worst possible thing for the SEC and probably the entire nation is if Dan Hurley goes to Kentucky. You think anything like that's going to happen?
I mean, when you're Dan Hurley and you just won back-to-back titles at UConn, why are you leaving?
I don't know why you'd leave. I mean, unless
my dream right now, my evil orange and blue dream is that Alabama gets reverse Nick Saban'd, and they made the release this week that Oates is not leaving. I will not be that Nets coach, and I hope that he does become the Nets Kentucky coach. That's my dream right now.
Can I ask you about the nightmare? You any feelings on Bruce taking that swing?
No, I don't. I think we have seen Bruce really happy at Auburn. I know that there's a couple of different obstacles that he's had to face here, but I think that in his position, he does not want to rebuild again. And again, I know Kentucky's not a rebuild,
right?
But I mean, you got to realize that when you take a job like that, it's uprooting your family, it's moving houses, it's having to buy another big ass house, and learning the names of everybody who's, it's such a process to meet people and to do all that kind of stuff. And there's so much to be said about being content at Auburn. He doesn't have to go rebrand Outlive again. There's no K in Outlive. I don't know how you're going to fit that in there if you do that. But yeah, I don't see Bruce leaving.
I don't either, but I never say never. I never say never. We got another caller in, so we're going to let them pop in real quick. I actually don't have it set up to have all three of us in. So Clint, I know I should have anticipated this.
I'll go backstage.
You go backstage, and I'll bring you back on after that. But let's go ahead and say hello to another person real quick who's called in. We'll get their perspectives really quick. Mr. Rugarel, how's it going?
Hey, man, what's up?
How you been, man?
Man, War Damn Eagle, brother.
War Eagle to you. What you got on your mind tonight?
So yeah, I've been trying to inquire and see did we hear anything about the Alvin?
Oh, and we lost him, right? You still there, Rugaril? Say that one more time. Oh no. Clint, what are you doing to his camera? Are you still there?
Hello.
Hey, I think we got you. You still there? Can you hear me? Uh-oh.
I can't hear you at all, brother. I don't know what's going on. It
I don't
might
know.
be this
Hey,
weather up here.
try calling if you can. Try calling back in. We'll let you back in if you can call in. All right, we'll pull him out for just a second and see if Ruger will call back in if you heard that, and we'll let you back in. I'll let Clint back in for a second here if he's ready. You keep bugging people's cameras and stuff, Clint. I mean, you're passing on your bad things to that.
That's just what I do, apparently.
I wonder what I'm actually curious what happens if I bring 3 people on. Let's see if that works. It's probably not going to do anything. Oh, it does work. Rugeril, you there?
I still can't. I can only hear you, Clint. I can't hear.
All
Kyle
right. I'll
man.
talk to you, man.
Well, hey, that's fine. Hey,
Okay.
show's over. I'm out.
Who wants
Bye.
to talk to Kyle anyways?
All right. Why don't you?
Yeah, but Kyle's a cool dude, man. So
That's
yeah.
fine. I'm out.
Yeah. So I'm up here in North Coleman, man. Coleman, Alabama. So we've been getting some pretty bad weather up here. So I don't know if it's my service or not. So, but yeah, I was inquiring about the Alvin Henderson situation. I didn't know if he had made his commitment or not. So I was just trying to get an inquiry about that.
I'll play middleman. Did you hear any of that?
I did.
No.
I can hear. I can hear it.
He can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you now. What's going on?
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Cool.
Clint, and you're stuck in the middle of all this. Oh, Clint's not going to be able to answer this because he doesn't like recruiting. But I haven't heard anything, and now he's gone. Oh man, it's been one of those tech nights. I'll give him a second.
Man,
I know it's tough. It is tough. All right. Rugeril, if I could give you what I don't know anything about that situation. I haven't heard if he's committed or not. I also haven't been focused on that. The only commitment that I did anything about today was I haven't learned his name yet. Oh gosh, Smith.
Fine.
Anyway,
I'll do your research for you.
Thank you. I was about to do it, but you can be here for. That's right? What you're here for. I haven't heard anything about that. I thought Carday Smith is the only one that I covered today. And I got to start learning the name here. But yes, that's one that's out there. And now, Clint, I think you would at least appreciate this part of the recruiting aspect. We miss our Trevon Reed. He's a wonderful human being, and we all loved his "we ain't done yet" stuff.
Even I enjoyed that.
He, I think, has passed it on, and I forget who to his name, but a recruiting director of sorts. But he posted today the "we ain't done yet" video and the eyes. So I love it. If he's going to continue on that tradition, if he's been given the blessing by Sir Trevon Reed. That's pretty awesome. But if you can hear this Rugeril, like I know you're not on the show now, but I have no information about that. But that's obviously one that we're keeping an eye on. Let's see here. Clint's going back to the rave. That's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Thomas asked you earlier, Clint, what is your favorite brand style of helmet Auburn football has worn?
I honestly think that the classic Riddell Speed
Show and tell.
Like this is, I think, is just the best silhouette. This is the most iconic design right now. But this design's been, retired in the last couple of years. It's actually banned in the NFL just because it's outdated. Of the ones that are currently available, I think the Speed Flex is just by default the best looking one, even though it's a little odd. The Schutt S7 with its tectonic plates down the middle, just I feel like it disrupts a lot. I am really interested in the Riddell Axiom, the one that has just like the jaw bone face mask. They're doing a lot to come out with new face masks for them that it doesn't make it as uncanny, but I think just the evolution of that helmet is very interesting to watch right now. But yeah, we haven't had a lot of innovation in this world in the last year. After they all came out with their latest model 2 or 3 years ago, and now we're just kind of sitting in this. But in the hoopla of yesterday's Nike announcement, the NFL's annual helmet testing results were released, and I have not had a chance to dive into them and see what they said. But it's always interesting to go in and check those out. But the big thing with helmets right now is you're getting a lot of position specific helmets. So you've got the Visus 02 Trench, which is for the lineman. It's got just this giant pad on the forehead. I think Visus also came out with a QB style. So you're seeing a couple more, and there's more on the way. So you're not really going to see much visually changed. It's going to be more of the padding internally, but that's where we're going in this industry, is more player specific helmet builds.
Let's see here. It was something there it is. Oh wait, I thought it was a question for you, but it's more so taking a shot, not at you, but at Austin. Have you heard the Austin?
I have not.
Okay.
I saw this a minute ago, and I was about to ask you this.
So there is a running gag and somewhat reality that when Austin goes to an Auburn basketball game, especially against one of our rivals, we lose on the road at the very least. And so the running joke was every time we lost, which was very few times this year, was Austin there. So no, he was not in Spokane, but he did attend the SEC championship, and we won. So
well, you're welcome for that one, because I was across town at Vanderbilt watching really bad baseball games. So
you didn't want to go to the championship?
I did. I didn't have $150 to spend on a ticket for for 5 of us.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. Just
after we were already out $40 a piece for those baseball seats. So
you doing all right?
I'm not mad. I don't want to talk about
it. You don't want. I mean, it is part of Auburn, so how we doing?
That was the experience, man. If it's sharing the Auburn experience, as it says on the string, that was like, I said it before online. I don't really let the outcome of games determine my mood anymore. I'm no longer at the point where I want to punch a wall or a hole in the wall kind of thing. But that drive back from Nashville that Sunday was not fun. I was not in a good mood, and it was, I guess it was just the FOMO of it. It was the frustration that, when the last couple of years, we've, my wife and her siblings, we've gone on a road trip to watch 3 baseball games and just enjoy the weekend at a different university and get to visit a new campus and a new stadium. And we picked Nashville early on before we even realized that it was the tournament weekend. So we had already bought all these seats and the hotel and everything, and just didn't, we're like, maybe we can swing it, but the schedule just didn't work out for us. And then, when news came out that, tickets were only like $15 for Sunday, it was, by the time we got around to actually looking, they were $80 a piece.
Yeah, it happened fast.
And we're like, let's check it in the morning and see how it is. They were $120 in the morning. It's like, no, we'll go. Like, the as much as I love Auburn baseball, as much as I love Butch Thompson, just the frustration of what could have been, what should have been, what we missed out on was driving me insane.
On that note, what's going on with Auburn baseball? What's going on?
I think you have a team that has been hit by a buzzsaw, because they have, playing 1, 3, 4, and 4 so far in the
and
SEC.
8 this weekend, I think.
It's Kentucky 8.
I think unless I misread something, I think they're 8.
They're another top 25 team.
How about that? Yeah, just that alone.
You got 5 straight top 25 teams, and at least 4 of them are top 10. They've been hit in the mouth by the schedule. The SEC as a whole is very good this year, and there's no safe weekend, unfortunately, for this team. And I heard it after Friday or Saturday's game. I guess it was Saturday's game. Heard it on the radio on my way home, and Brad Law's interviewing Butch on the field, and he said something to the effect of, "I am begging my team and my coaches to adopt a fits it at all cost attitude.
Mhm.
And you could tell in his voice that he was mad.
Yeah.
And Butch is not a very angry person. He
Yeah.
does not show it. He's a very positive, outgoing person, and I love him dearly for
Which is
it.
why we love it when he gets mad at the umps, like, because that's it's so rare.
Absolutely. It's amazing to watch. But you could hear it in his voice. He's mad about something that's going on with this team. And then he said that, and I got the sense that this is a very frustrated Butch Thompson who has done just about everything he knows that he can do to fix this, and nothing's working. And I
Yeah.
feel for him. And this is, if anything comes out of the season, this might be his hardest coaching job so far.
Yeah, I hate it for him, and I hate it for this team too, because I had some, and the season's not over, but the time is running out on being able to do anything with the season outside of just play the
Yeah.
games. But it's tough, man. It's tough out there right now, and I definitely got that sense as well, listening to some of his post game comments
Well,
and press
and we've got
conferences.
a very talented group of guys.
Oh yeah,
No question about it. They just can't put it together right now. And you know, I've said this many times in the past couple of years, but like Butch is a pitching god of a coach, effectively. Tim Hudson's been here. Greg Olson's worked with these guys, and the pitching staff continues to be the weak link in this program. And it does, and I don't know if this is a 11.7 issue. I don't know if it's, a recruiting issue or a development issue. Like I don't know, but
right.
it's we need every single one of these guys to pull a John Armstrong right now. If you watch John Armstrong's first year, second year, he was a liability on the mound. He was not very good, but when he came in Friday night, game one, was it Friday? We've had so many Thursday night games lately, but when he came in game one against Tennessee and shut them down and went 4 innings to win the game, holy crap, was that a different John Armstrong than what we saw a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And it was so refreshing to watch just how dominant he was at that point. And I really want to see some of these other guys step it. Like nobody on this team, especially in the pitching staff, is performing to what they can. Will Cannon, who was a freshman, prodigy last year as a closer, has not done good at all as a closer. In fact, he started Sunday's game.
Do you want to know? Okay, I was there for Sunday's start, and I pulled up because I got there on time, but like I was doing other things, and so I pull up to the parking deck ledge where I always watch, and I look out, and I'm like, was I asleep? Is this the end of the game? Will Cannon's out there, and then I thought, no, coach said that we're going to shake things up, and I was like, okay, well, this is shaking things up. That's how I think if there's any illustration for how well things are going, is that we're seeing Will start the game. And I'm not saying like that's a shot at him. I'm just saying like that's how creative we're having to be right now.
Yeah, and again, I don't know if this is just because the game was so out of reach, or it had been a crazy, 2 games in a row that had been kind of out of reach. But Gonzo coming in for 2 or 3 innings in the middle of the game out of the bullpen, which I don't know if he's done that his entire Auburn career.
Right.
And Joseph Gonzalez is just missing something right now. And again, this is
He's
where
having an Alan Flanagan type point in his career.
yeah, and coming off of an injury last year, I can't remember. Did he actually have surgery or did he avoid the surgery last year? I think he avoided it, but I am not positive in saying that right now.
I'm not
but
positive
to
either.
go from that and to have to rehab regardless to coming back this year and expecting to be the the ace that he was 2 years ago, and then he got pulled in the first inning, I guess against UConn. And on the post-game radio show, Butch said that his mechanics were off, that with the TrackMan system that they use, that is very high detailed and it's amazing, but they were able to tell that like his stride when he's throwing the ball, his step is not as long as it had been,
Yeah.
or should be. which is such great analytics that you can get from something like this, and why it's such a vital investment into the program. But just not being able to get back to that, and that's why you saw a little bit of time off for Gonzo, and I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know if it's a physical thing. I don't know if it's a health thing or a mechanics thing. Like we're just not gonna know that.
Yep. I mean,
And
it's
it's just wild.
a wild year. I'll be honest with you. I thought we would struggle given how strong at the start of the season the SEC appeared,
Yeah.
but I've seen us struggle before and then and rise to the occasion. And I'm not saying they still can't. It's tough out there right now.
It's really tough.
It's really tough. All right, we got a caller in, but now that we know that we can squeeze us all in this format that I do, here he comes. You guys know him. You love him. Mr. Manville, what's going on, sir?
War Eagle, y'all. How are y'all tonight?
War Eagle.
Hey, everybody take note. The cameras are all working right now.
For now, knock on wood, Thomas.
Let's get.
I jinx things. I'm not knocking on anything.
Hey, if Rue calls in, we're going to squeeze him in here, and let's see if we can pull it off. What's up, Thomas?
Man, just hanging out, talking Auburn.
That's right, man. What's on your mind tonight? You tell us what you want to talk. We've been bouncing around to a bunch of things.
Well, I worked this past Saturday, so I didn't get to come to the A-Day game, and I didn't have the ability to watch it at work, but I was able to watch it this week. And I watched it twice, and we got some good things going for us, and we got some stuff that just needs a little spit and polish before we really know what's going on with it.
Yep. You know, how you feel about having like two deep at kicker?
I'm good with it. I mean, you can have a kickoff specialist, and then you can have a distance field goal guy. You can have an accuracy field. I mean, they're both pretty accurate, and they can both kick it a mile. But
yeah,
I ain't worried about it. I feel good.
So when do we officially rename Auburn to Kicker U?
It's been Kicker U. I mean, like
I know, but we got to go hard on this now because it's about time.
I mean, let me just put the names in order for you. I got Towns Magoo. Ready? We're just going to throw him in there because my gosh, just had a 7 for 7 day. Towns Magoo. Then we're gonna go. Oh my gosh, Alex McPherson. Then we're gonna go. I can't even get it out. Shut up. Carlson 1, Carlson 2, Cody Parkey. Then it would be Wes Byram, I believe, and then it would be John Vaughn, and then it would be Damon. No, then it would be Philip Yost, and then Damon Duval.
I almost forgot about Yost, and I'd much rather have a different position group to be known for. I'm glad we have great kickers because we've kicked so much over the last 10 years. But I'd really rather have a different position group that we're known for.
Yeah, I hear you on that here. But as a fellow kicker, I'm loving it. This is like the time to be alive. Come on, look, come on.
Kyle gets one kick in a game in high school.
That is not true. That is not true. I kicked a lot of extra points. Made a few of them. But I am the only kicker, I believe, in my high school's history that is 100% on field goals. 1 for 1, baby.
Most of the time in the stat books, it has a minimum attempts
caveat. Not at Macon East, it doesn't.
Because there's only 12 students who have ever been there.
Not at Macon East, it doesn't. That's just my spot in the record books, and I'm sticking to it. We'll talk some more 8A stuff with Thomas here, but 313 is wondering any updates on Janai. I haven't heard any updates on him. I did hear someone who I would say is in the know in these things speculate that they felt better about Janai considering coming back. I could make a strong case for Janai coming back, but I also could make a strong case for him leaving. Clint, any feelings on what you think?
I learned something this week that I was not aware of, but apparently if you enter into the NBA draft and you remove yourself twice, you're not able to do that again.
Yep. I was reminded of that when I saw that posted this week.
I did not know that. So I think that I don't know if I like that.
We will know sooner though. How about that? It won't be this.
When's the deadline?
I could
Is there a deadline?
I'm sure there is that you have to declare for it or not. So we could figure that out. What's your feeling on that, Thomas?
If I'm not mistaken, he tested the waters last season.
Yep, and it went well.
Didn't really get great news, and then come back to play another year. If there's that you go in there twice and withdraw, if he goes in, he's got to stay, and then that's a that's a higher risk because there's a lot of good guys out there and there's not a lot of spots. So does he want to play in the league or does he want to play overseas? Does he want to play the G League?
G League, that's there. I think he'd get drafted this year if he went. I'm pretty sure of that. You don't be like the second guy, player of the year, SEC behind Dalton Knecht, and then not get at least a real strong case. And he had a really good combine last year. Wasn't enough to get him to where he needed to be.
You know, I'll say this, and I said this on social media a couple months ago, but last year I was not a Janai Broom fan.
Really?
I just wasn't. I didn't think he was that good. I didn't see the
What's
hype.
this? What's that, Clint? I can't hear you. Your camera's going out again.
I was wrong. But yeah, I was, you know, I wasn't very high on him coming into the season, and he proved me wrong. And holy cow, was he so much fun to watch this year.
He's definitely flourished. Let's go back to football for a little bit. I want to know what group stuck out to you the most, Thomas.
I think our receivers are. I think they show improvement so far, and that's due to the people that are the personnel that's on the field.
Yeah,
I like that they weren't afraid to take shots. I did see a couple of guys with a little unwillingness to block, which if we're going to get the run game going, they're going to have to block. And I get it. It's A-Day. It's a glorified scrimmage. It's not, you know, the 5th conference game of the year, and we got to have it. But I'd like to see that effort at practice.
How you practice is how you play. And I will not say who, but I saw a familiar number and face doing the same things I always have seen, and it's very frustrating.
It is. That hurt my feelings watching it.
Do not say it unless you want to, but are we probably thinking this of a large person?
There were two of the larger people I saw where did not impress me. And one tight end let somebody right by him, and it's been rumored he might be the best blocker in the tight end.
I got you.
Just woofed on a guy, and I'm going, all right, man, it's A-Day, whatever. Everybody's nursing a little injury here, but there's a couple things we really got to get better on. I was impressed with how the DBs stayed with some of these newer guys that are as fast as they are.
Yeah,
I was a little upset that they didn't. I mean, they rarely turned their head around. They did deflection passes, but they're looking at the guy's numbers in his chest and relying on their hands instead of getting their head around and figuring it out. But I think we're raw. But I think there's really all the potential in the world is there. We just got to develop it.
So I got to ask you this, because anytime we got to talk about this when you're on here. What's your take about offensive line? Is there anything that you can take away from the AD about the offensive line? Because I don't know that I took away any hardcore things about it.
I didn't. From the 2 times I've watched it, I'm not going to start singing praises by any stretch.
Right.
They to me, they haven't gelled as a unit yet. I saw some arms extended a little bit further out than you would like them, and that allows people to get off blocks, especially in the run game. You've got to get to your guy and stay on him in the run game. You've got to be able to control his body and move him, turn his shoulders. You got to open up the gaps for these guys to run through, or it's going to be a really long year if we can only pass, and we're just now getting guys that can help us in the pass game.
Yeah.
If these receivers had been here for 2 or 3 years, I'm really not that worried because they know what to do. They know the routes to run. They know how to get open. They know where the ball, more than likely what's going to be happening. So they're going to be better prepared for it. But we're raw, but we got to grow, and we can grow.
Raw, but we got to grow. Hey, that's different than same old. And so I'll take that at this point. Since Clint's here, let me ask you, and you got any questions for him about Nike or just perspectives that we haven't talked about Nike, Thomas, or just do you like to change anything like that?
No, I like to change to Nike. I think it was in the initial live you did when it first the news kind of broke. I think it was time for a change. We've been with Under Armour. I think it was 2005 when we started with them.
Clint?
I think it was.
It was December 2005 that it was announced. It was 2006, so 2007 that the season actually started. But,
okay. Yeah. So we've been there for a good while. I'm not upset with the change. I like it. I think it was time. I like Nike more than Adidas or someone like that. I really don't like the style and the stitching on a lot of the Adidas stuff. So I'm happy with Nike. But if I had a question for you, if they're going to do something like an alternate uniform or a special game, how drastic do you think it will be? Because Nike does some pretty drastic stuff when they do vintage, like a throwback or something.
Right. I mean, and so do Adidas and so does Under Armour. So it as I've been saying for many years, it's always about the team and the school and who's going to make that decision. So Auburn has proven that the decision makers are not going to approve any of this. Getting the new face mask colors was, an act of Congress. So I don't see. I think those roadblocks are going to still be in place. So I don't see it being super drastic. If we do see anything, it'll be something subtle. It'll be something simple. You can go back to what was it? It was 2010 actually, where Alabama wore the Nike Pro Combat uniforms that had the American flag on the shoulder, the houndstooth collar, and houndstooth in the numbers, and that was a huge deal. And I've heard some stories about the inside Alabama people were not happy with Nike about it, even after it sold gangbusters at retail. So, there's always somebody who's going to try and push it, and there's always going to be somebody at Auburn who does not want to deal with it.
Right. It like you're saying, it's pretty. The school depends on how big of a change it is. In my little perfect world, I'd love to see the orange outline on the numbers like we had in most of the 90s. I think that'd be a cool look to see again.
Yeah. Well, just wait until it's summertime because I always do a crazy concept, crazy uniform concept series, and
I've seen it.
I've seen it. Fun.
Do you just twitch sometimes when you see some of them like I do? Like,
oh yeah.
Yes.
It's like an uncontrollable twitch that just happens every time I see one of them. Now, I will to this day continue to preach the Toomer's Lemonade baseball uniforms that Clint came out. And I think Avery is the one that suggested that to you.
Yeah, that was a basketball uniform. But
it was a basketball. I'm sorry. But I don't care
get
what.
It right. Okay.
Sorry. Listen, there have been so many things I've tried to block them out of my mind. But that one, man. Give me that one now. Like I just, if that's what we're gonna do with Nike and be crazy, please, let's do that. A tiger striped jersey.
No, that's a tiger stripped jersey.
Oh, ooh, wow. That's tough right there. Oh man, another dustbuster moment just happened on the stream.
Where's Corey?
Thomas, were you here for that? Like live?
No, I came in. I mean, I remember seeing the Dustbuster in the first live I ever watched and going, I don't know what they're talking about, but I'm sticking around because it's Auburn. And then someone finally explained it to me, and it just needs to stick around in some capacity. It's too good to not be there.
There is a Dustbuster T-shirt on our TeePublic store if anybody ever wants it.
I need to go get that sticker.
I'm telling you, the Dustbuster is alive and well today, and I still cannot know. I don't know who said it, where to find them.
It was a bot.
Was it a bot?
Yeah, you blocked it immediately.
Oh, I didn't realize I blocked it. I think I just deleted the comment.
It was one of those unsavory bots like what's all over Twitter right now. So.
Yeah, but see, I didn't remember it. I thought it was anyway. It doesn't matter because it's But it was for a bot. That was a very creative comment for what they described was happening with that. So use your imagination. Let's see. I want to see an orange alternate jersey like a basketball jersey, which you're more than likely, I feel like you're more likely going to see, basketball stuff than that, right?
Yeah. The basketball, baseball, softball world is wide open, but football has been locked down by the powers at hand. So,
which I'm okay with. Frankly.
I know you are, you old man.
I don't like change. Which is why the fact that I'm okay with the Nike thing should be surprising.
I was about to ask you that. I was shocked.
I can be very easily persuaded if you present me with a logical conclusion as to why.
I have presented you many logical conclusions
Anything that comes out
green uniforms and all those kind of things, and you just don't listen to me.
Anything that comes out of your mouth is not logical. But if you present me with facts, I will. Non-Clint facts. Okay. I will be able to see your point usually and concede that point. I still prefer Under Armour, but at the same time, I'm just All right, let's do this with Thomas real quick because I know Clinton doesn't like recruiting, but since Thomas is here, Alvin Henderson commits to Penn State tomorrow. We are, he says, so this must be a Penn State fan. This the word on the street is that Alvin Henderson and Auburn are not going to be a thing. It sounds like.
Yeah, that's from what I've picked up in other circles. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. And look, I get it. He's a great player and all that, but I'm not going to stress over this one guy. I don't think he is the game breaker that if we had him, it's gonna fix everything for us. Do I want to have a stable of great running backs? Absolutely. Like I want to have a stable like Cadillac, Ronnie Brown, Trey Smith, and Brandon Jacobs. I mean, you had a Cadillac, you had a Hummer, you had a tank, and you had like a Mazda Miata with maybe a little bit of a flat tire. But we had a stable of dudes back there that could get out there and play. Like I'd rather have 4 deep that can play their roles, their specific roles in that offense, than this one dude that we're going to rely on. And he's got 2 legs, 2 knees, 2 shoulders. And if any one of those goes out, he ain't playing.
Now, listen, you say that about that Mazda Miata with the flat tire, but when that thing turned the corner in the 2002, I think it was Iron Bowl, man, that thing turned the corner, and then Alabama said, "Excuse me, what is happening right now?"
Man, I remember watching that game at a youth group party because the youth group from church would always watch the Iron Bowl and the Super Bowl, and we took a break at halftime, and the neighbors were clearly not Auburn fans. And I have never heard strings of profanity put together so eloquently with the help of more than likely a grain alcohol in my life. It was wild.
Oh, man, what a time that was. We didn't know what we had. Maybe as a final question for you, sir. Commitment today, offensive line should probably make you very happy. With Mr. Smitty coming into the fold. Thoughts on him?
I haven't dug too deep into him. I'm still working with our last 2, trying to find as much film as I can. Because you can find some highlights and they just look awful and you really can't tell what's going on. So I'll dive into him this week, but it's another tackle. I've seen him. He's 6'5", 6'6", 285 to 300 is what I've been able to see so far. If he's coming in at 6'6", 300 as a freshman offensive tackle, that's SEC size right off the bat. I'll have to watch some film to see if he's got any really negative tendencies. How good is he with his hands? Does he bend his back? His arms, his feet, his hips, all that. But as long as we can just keep bringing in linemen that we can work with. Now, we've seen it. The portal's a real thing. People are going to go. But we got to have a solid 2 deep year in and year out. Somebody is going to get hurt on the offensive line or the defensive line. It's going to happen. So you're guaranteed 1 every year, and they're probably going to be out for 3 to 5 weeks.
Don't wish that.
Probably a lower body injury.
Yeah.
Or if it's an upper body injury, sometimes it's longer because it's more likely a tear and it's going to require some surgery.
And with that, we're thinking of like Tate Johnson, right? Isn't he the one that did the pectoral or something right there?
Yeah, he tore his shoulder up in the Penn State game last year, which I think, if I remember right, that was his first start, and he came in at 285 and just got whooped. It was not pretty. But that was last season. But then this season, we had Avery Jones went down with an injury, and then Connor Luke came in, and he's a
boy. He's a big old boy.
He's harder than a brick stuck in concrete, man. He's tough.
Well, that's one way to put it. Get you a little look at him on film, and we'll talk about him maybe some more next week.
Oh, yeah, I'll see what I can do.
All right, Thomas. Good to hear from you as always, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
War Eagle, y'all. Have a good night.
All right, Clint, you're stuck with me if you want to be for a few more minutes here. The live stream's almost done, but you can.
I can't get away from you is the problem.
Hey, this is your choice at this point. I said you had an out, and you said you wanted back in. So
man,
here we go.
You promised me money for being here.
Is that what happened? Well,
that's what I heard.
I don't know where you're getting it from because if you can go look at my coffers right now, it's not doing well. You got that Nike affiliate money now coming in about to be.
Oh
so.
Boy, no. I saw the details of it.
It is Nike. You didn't think it was gonna go that well, did you?
I was hoping it was gonna be better than what it was, but
not that big old brand stuff. All right, so we are at about we're technically almost at 9 o'clock, but we'll go a little bit longer just because we started late. If you've got comments, questions, especially since we have Clint here about Nike uniforms, Under Armour, anything like that, this is your time to, you have him as a captive audience somewhat. Again, he can leave whenever he wants, but I think he's choosing to stay with us right now. Is there something we haven't talked about with this, Clint?
With what?
Just Nike and Auburn. And I feel like there's some element we haven't covered. And I know that's saying something because we've covered a lot.
We have. I don't know.
Let's see. Just looking through comments. Strangely enough, I already have a Nike Auburn jersey. It's Courtney Taylor's number. So I guess it came from the early 2000s. Although 86 is a very not commonly used wide receiver number, so it may not be him.
It was still from that era.
Okay.
Yeah. Same thing there, in 2010, Adidas and Russell both made number 2 Auburn jerseys that were officially licensed. So, that's a lot of people like to say, like, what can you do? It was like there's a lot more stuff available in store than what's available online. So yes, there are still Nike items that have been available in the last 10 years. So
here's a question back from earlier. Did Russell ever make helmets or just the pants and jerseys? I didn't think so. I didn't think so. Take on this. Nike logo needs to be orange, not white on the jersey.
On the blues? No, I don't think so.
I would like it to be white, I think.
Yeah. I think with a lot of the things you're going to see in the next couple of years, it's going to be, let's make this as smooth of a transition for a lot of these fans as possible. And, you see it with, in the NFL a lot right now, like the Titans' new jerseys, the only red on the entire jersey is the check mark on the shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, why? The Seattle Seahawks uniform was designed specifically so that the Nike teardrop or the Nike check mark was housed in a teardrop icon. And it's just, you're going to see some unique ways to kind of highlight the logo more than the team at times. Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
And again, everybody does this, but Nike is just the best at doing it.
Just do it.
They
live it out, man.
They do.
How many like puns are we gonna have with that now? And just
so many.
I mean, it's just gonna be overused at this point. When do you think? How long will the hype of us transitioning to Nike last? I mean, obviously, it's going to die off until we get there a little bit, but as new things comes out. But like, let's say let's take us to a year plus from now. Nike's here. Does the shiny newness off after a year?
No, I don't think so, because I think what you're going to see is year one is going to be very year zero-ish, which I don't even get that term, but
no, I understand what you mean.
It's going to be a very stopgap year because, like we discussed on the earlier stream, the timeline is very condensed right now, and things have to get made and ordered today, effectively. So year one's going to be as stopgap as possible. Year two is where you're going to see a little bit more customization, and maybe year 3 or year 4, you're going to see a very different look, especially on baseball and softball and basketball. So I expect these first year uniforms to only last 2 or 3 years, maybe, unless it's exactly what Auburn wanted, but it's all yet to be seen. So, but no, I think the year one, you're going, day one, you're going to have a huge hype train, and that's going to carry into every single sport throughout the 2025-26 season. Because, depending on how the schedule falls, volleyball is going to debut the very first Nike uniform, and then soccer's going to debut their first Nike uniform, and then they're going to do that for each colorway that they wear, and then football's going to debut, and then men's and women's basketball is going to debut theirs, and then once we get into the spring, it's going to be softball and baseball debut and all of their stuff, and then of course you've got the the other non-uniform team sports like golf and tennis and track and field who still have, there's going to 2025-26 is going to be nothing but a year of debuts. Everything is going to be brand new, which is why it's going to be so busy for me. But I think once we kind of get a couple years down, it might be 2 or 3 years down the road, but once people kind of realize what's available in the stores is not very different than what was available in the stores, that's when it's gonna, I think if you follow Pablo Escobar, who's one of the best follows on Auburn Twitter, he tweeted yesterday, said, "I cannot wait to complain about the Nike shirt that's available in the store." And it's like, yes, it's exactly how it's going to go.
I was going to say, when do you see the first? I wish we still had Under Armour.
Day one.
How about this?
Tweet one.
Well, yes, but that's going to be the unreasonable people. Like, when do you expect to see the first person that was pro Nike or pro change or pro Nike in general, whatever, flip over to I miss Under Armour?
Probably the postseason basketball shirts. I don't, Under Armour did not do very good with these, to be honest, but Nike, all of these companies just template designs, and I think this year's was like team name, energy, and that was it on the shirt. And so, it just wasn't anything special, and people did not like that when it was with Under Armour. Well, now instead of being templated with 15 schools, you're going to be templated with 150 schools. And that wears on people at times. So
I think there are certain elements like that people aren't thinking about when they're screaming from the heavens, "Please Nike, please Nike." I'm like, that was one of my biggest fears, is losing some, I won't say originality, but differentiating qualities that came with it.
Well, and the line that I've used for years is, you're either a top 2 or 3 dog with Under Armour in a small pond, or you are just another fish in the sea and the ocean with Nike. And we'll see where Auburn kind of ranks out in that once the numbers get revealed, but that's really how this is going to be. Auburn is not going to be the number 1 or number 2 or number 3 guy under Nike regardless.
Right.
There's
too
20
many.
There's too many. There's a dozen or 2 dozen teams that you could name right now that are going to have more attention, more special treatment, more money, whatever it is than Auburn is. So, I think that really shows that this move was not made for the money itself. And and I've heard that Adidas and Under Armour were offering more money than what Nike did. Nike did bump up their offer supposedly, but it's still considerably lower than what the other two offered.
It's not all about the money. It's not all about one issue. Good question here. Will this make Under Armour gear skyrocket in the last year?
No, I don't think so. I think if you can make it through about the next 11 to 13 months, if you can make it to next March, it's all going to be heavily discounted.
So hold the wallets and look for it to be going on sale. But it wouldn't surprise me though to see like a little bit of it, kind of come, especially maybe some of those high ticket items, but then it'll come right back down. I mean, if there's a rush on it at all.
Yeah. I mean, if they were to drop another State of Auburn type shirt tomorrow and it's going to get a flurry of attention.
Yeah.
But again, remember, this is where you kind of get into some legal stuff. That T-shirt has to be sold at MSRP in store.
Yeah,
it's on the eBay and reselling market that it can skyrocket. So we're kind of dealing with two different markets in that sense. But you're not going to see the prices skyrocket in store. You're going to see it do the opposite.
So there you go. All right, final minutes here. Last minute comments, questions, derogatory rebuttals. Get them in now.
Names to call Kyle?
No, sir. Yes. Names to call Clint's gear that keeps shutting down on him. Probably the names he called in the back screen when he muted himself. I don't have any cue cards actually ready for you guys, but reminders what we got coming in your next scheduled is the key word because you never know. News just keeps happening this week. This Sunday, 9 Eastern time with Austin and myself, Auburn Experience podcast episode 74. Yes, it has been 74 episodes. Plenty still to discuss. He'll probably want his say on Auburn and Nike. So I'm sure we're not done talking about it.
Do I need to make an appearance on that one too?
It's up to you, man. You pretty much have a standing invitation. You just tell me when you want to be here. And if I ever get tired of you, I'll say no. But
well, hey, you and I did more than 74 episodes of the basketball show, and I'm surprised Austin has not gotten tired of you either. So,
well, I mean, if you noticed, he's missed a few episodes. I think that was him trying to test the water to see if he actually misses me or not. He keeps coming back. As always, subscribe here, follow everywhere on social media that you can find us. Plug your stuff, Clint.
Just follow me at Auburn Uniforms on Facebook and Instagram, at ClintAU24 on Twitter, and check out everything that I have to offer at auburnuniforms.com.
All right, final comments and questions here. What are some of the reasons Auburn fans did not want Nike if we haven't talked about it already?
Don't like change. To put it very succinctly and nicely, the politics of it all.
Yes, I was going to say politics.
And that's, people don't like change. People don't like Nike. People don't like being associated with the same brand that Alabama wears, which Russell was the same, and both schools have to breathe the same air. So I don't like that.
I agree with that. That's stupid that we have to breathe the same air. They're like troglodytes. Do they even need to breathe air at this point? I mean,
you could say that. I'm not going to say that.
What about the tiger emblem? Will it stay? I'm not under. Are you understanding what he means?
I'm not entirely sure what that is, David. But I've had a lot of questions about logos and stuff. Auburn owns, I believe, every single logo in WordMart that is currently used.
Okay.
So this is not going to be a Mississippi State Nike situation where Nike owns the interlocking MSU logo. It might be after this when if Nike unveils a new logo to go along with the AU, but that is yet to be seen. But as of right now, everything you see currently used should be staying put.
The standing obby, does that clarify?
Yeah, that's an Auburn University owned item. There
you go. Well, Clint has spent basically 2 hours with us, folks. So if you didn't get your question answered, I'm sorry. He'll be back at some point. If you want a more focused and just about the Nike stuff discussion, I know this is the point of this show, is to bounce around a bunch of different things. Go check out the live stream we did previously to that. Share it out on social media. Obviously, please continue to support Clint and all his efforts to bring you Auburn aesthetics and Auburn history over at auburnuniforms.com. I've got, not on this live stream description, but in the description link over there on the other live stream, has got his channel, or you need a channel, but his website link over there. You always say that, and then somehow you find time, So, all right, folks, that's going to do it for this episode of, I guess it wasn't an episode, but live stream with Clint and this Auburn Family Night. We appreciate you being here and hanging out with us. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.
War Eagle.